You're listening to the Balanced Educator Podcast, episode number 169.
Welcome to the Balanced Educator. We're your hosts, Kate
And Josiane from EduCalm. Our intention is to equip and empower you to feel more calm, balanced, and joyful in all aspects of your life. Hello and welcome to the Balanced Educator Podcast. So happy you're here. Today I am doing a solo episode and I am tackling a very fun topic. Well, I think it's fun anyway. Who doesn't love a good seasonal topic? I'll be sharing concrete ways to incorporate social emotional learning and mindfulness on the theme of winter. For some of us, winter is already here. There's snow on the ground. For some of us, winter is on its way, and some of us may experience snow the way that we do here in Manitoba. And maybe you live in a place where there's no actual snow on the ground, but this is still a great opportunity to do some winter mindfulness activities and also maybe to learn a little bit and have conversations about other places in the world where there's lots of snow and it gets really cold below 0 degrees Celsius and et cetera, et cetera. So all that to say, with the winter season upon us, it's an opportune time to explore mindfulness in winter and to dive into some calming breathing exercises that will help students and teachers with self-regulation and classroom management. So today I will be sharing 10 activities you can do with your students of all grades, though some will work better with some grades than others. And you will leave this episode with ready-to-use, no prep winter activities that you can use right away for a calm classroom environment. So before we dive in, just want to share with you today's sponsor.
Do you want to incorporate social emotional learning and mindfulness into your classroom to support students with mental health, focus, self-regulation, and emotional intelligence? With so much on your plate as a teacher, you probably just don't have time to get trained, develop resources, and teach the lessons yourself. Plus, you need time for self-care too. That's why we developed EduCalm, to support teachers like you. EduCalm is a fully bilingual English and French co-regulation program created by teachers. This program provides everything you'll need to build self-regulation, mindfulness, and social-emotional skills with your students through a 5-minute daily practice. With EduCalm, you don't have to be the expert. Just log in, press play, and participate with your students as you all prepare your minds and bodies for calm and focused teaching and learning together. Go to educalm.com to learn more and start using our free resources. Again, that's educalm.com, spelled EduCalme.
All right, let's dive in. So the first mindfulness exercise that I would like to share with you is to practice winter breathing with your students. So basically, get your students to kind of sit down, maybe close their eyes or keep them open, but guide them through a breathing exercise inspired by the winter season. So just instruct them to take slow, deep breaths through the nose, imagining that they're drawing in this really crisp, cool air of winter. So just kind of imagining that cool air going through their nostrils, going into their bodies. And then as they exhale through the mouth, encourage them to visualize releasing any tension or stress, letting go of what no longer serves them. And so if you are a person that lives in a cold climate, think about actually going outside to do this and getting them to really focus on that cold air that they're breathing in and how that air changes as they breathe it out, as they exhale. Going outside, always a good idea for a mindful moment, giving them the opportunity then also to kind of feel the cold air on their skin if if there's any of their skin is exposed, such as maybe their cheeks or forehead. Taking your students outside, always a good idea. This is probably a topic for another day, but outdoor education is just so healthy for both students and teachers. So take your students outside to do this exercise if you can. Okay, so that's winter breathing. Number 2 on the list today is snow globe visualization. So invite your students to imagine themselves inside a snow globe. So again, sitting them down, asking them to close their eyes, and maybe getting them to take a few calming deep breaths, and then getting them to imagine themselves inside this snow globe. So asking them questions like, what structures are inside of your snow globe? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And yeah, encouraging them to close their eyes and visualize the gentle snowflakes that are falling around them inside their snow globe. And as they observe the snowflakes, that they can also become aware of their thoughts, allowing them to gently drift away like the snowflakes, leaving them with a sense of calm and relaxation and clarity. Okay, so pretty simple few-minute exercise that you can do. Those first 2 I just shared are great to do just like at the start of the day or right after recess or before transition period, just to kind of bring them to that calm state as they transition into the next thing. So next one on the list, next exercise, is the winter senses walk. So pretty straightforward, but such a good exercise. Just take your students on a mindful walk outside. Encourage them to engage their senses. So just inviting them to notice the sound of the crunching snow under their feet, if that's applicable to your area, to feel the coolness of the winter air on their skin, the sights of snow-covered landscapes. Like, it's really interesting. And what a great mindful moment to even just look at the snow on the rooftops and these interesting shapes that it makes. So yeah, the sights of the snow-covered landscapes, and then any other winter-related sensations that they encounter. And just encouraging them to be fully present in the experience. And to do that, I would establish little rules ahead of time. So maybe just reminding them that this is a time where everybody's going to be quiet during the winter senses walk, and their job is just to take notice to their surroundings. So I think that rule portion is important, especially certain grades where, they want to chatter. So really making sure that we've established that before we go on the walk. All right, number 4 is the winter gratitude jar. So for this one, there's a tiny little prep that you're going to have to do in advance, and that's just having slips of paper. So just cutting up pieces of paper. You can also get your students to do that, right? And then the second thing is having a small jar or some container or, old vessels that you have laying around in your classroom. So just having one for each student. And pretty simple, once again, you're just going to instruct them to write down things that they appreciate about winter. So you can even give examples to start, and depending on the grades, if it's with the lower grades, I would encourage that you give them ideas. So examples that come to mind right now are cozy blankets or warm drinks or spending time with loved ones. So give them a few examples and get them to fill out their paper and fill their jars. And then place the gratitude notes in the jar and then create a tangible reminder of the joys of the season. And you could pull them out a week later and get them to reread them. Or if you're feeling like, oh, the class is, everyone's a little down today, maybe this is a great opportunity to pull their jar back out and that they can just read through them again, give them a mindful minute that way. So this, I think, would be a great activity to do either like right before the winter break or right after, where students can do a like winter break gratitude jar. So it's like even more themed. So either if they're doing it before to add what they're looking forward to during the break, or like traditions that they have that they're grateful for, or once they come back from break, they write what they were grateful for from their break. So different kind of variations there that you can play with. Again, like these would be great to pull out later as well. If you do the before the break, pull them out again after the break. Kind of, and just like when you need an uplifting moment, you have like that jar of gratitude kind of just there for you to grab when needed. All right, number 5 is winter mindful coloring. I think we did a whole episode at one point, if I remember correctly, on winter mindfulness, or on not winter mindfulness coloring, just on mindfulness coloring. And I can't remember what episode it was, but I can link that to the show notes. If you want to get to the show notes, you just go to educalm.com/TBE169. That's for the Balanced Educator 169. So that's educalm.com/TBE169. So for winter mindful coloring, all you need to do is to distribute winter-themed coloring sheets to the students. You can find these online. We also actually, if you didn't know this, we have a TPT store. And inside our TPT store, we do have winter mindful coloring pages. So we encourage you to go grab those, and I will link those to the show notes again at educalm.com/TBE169. And educalm, it's spelled EDUCALME. Or you can just go directly to TPT and just type in educalm and you'll see them in our store there. So this is a pretty simple concept. You print out some winter-themed coloring pages. The difference is that you don't just give it to them and say, okay, go color. You encourage them to color mindfully. So really focusing their attention on the strokes of the coloring utensils, the colors they choose, and the overall process of creating and coloring. And encouraging them that when their minds start to wander to, things happening, things that already happened, whatever it may be, to come back to this moment where they're just coloring. And as they're going through this exercise, you may want to remind them once in a while, if you've started thinking of other things, refocus your attention now on coloring. So this activity really promotes relaxation and concentration. And I feel like it's a great one with all the excitement around winter break. Teachers are exhausted. This is a nice one to just kind of give everybody a little break for a few minutes. And I encourage you as the teacher to also participate with the students. This is all of these are great activities for all members of the classroom. So again, if you want some mindful coloring pages on the theme of winter, we will link them in the show notes at educalm.com/TBE169, or you can go directly to TPT and just in the search bar put educalm and you will find them there. Number 6 on my list here is candle gazing. Of course, you should know if you are allowed to do this in your classroom, in your school, if there are any rules around this. But if you can do this, all you need to do is to set up a safe space and light a candle in the center. So probably the easiest way to do this would be to ask your students to sit in a circle and then lighting a candle in the center, again, making sure that it's safe. And instruct your students to sit comfortably and just to gaze softly at the flame. I would even close the lights so that there's less stimulus around, and that they can really kind of keep their gaze focus on that flame. So encourage them to observe the dance of the flame, the way that it flickers and casts a warm glow. And remind them to maintain a relaxed and focused presence while engaging with this mindful practice of candle gazing. Again, make sure you find out the rules in your school for this, but this is such a great exercise. I can see this one being really awesome as well for older grades, like high school. Number 7 on my list is winter mindful movement. So lead your students through some poses that reflect the winter season. So examples, I'll just give you a couple, and you can kind of get creative and make these up as you go. There's nothing wrong with that. But a couple that are coming to mind right now, snowflake arms. So stretching the arms wide and gently swaying while students are standing. So that's simple. A winter tree, so balancing on one leg with the arms stretched overhead like the branches, and you could even do a sway with that. A little wind comes along. Melting ice is another one. So you're standing and then slowly melting down into a seated position. Let's see, you could do igloo pose. So students going into child's pose, so sitting back on their heels, folding forward and stretching their arms out in front of them. And then they can imagine that they're cozy inside a warm igloo, safe from the cold. And a last example here, a snowy mountain pose. So standing tall with the feet together, arms extended overhead and the palms touching, like palms together, and just imagining that they are a snow-capped mountain in the crisp, cool air. Okay, so those are 5 examples, but you could totally come up with some other ones. Just get creative. Maybe actually another idea here is this will work great with younger students, but kind of giving them a few ideas and then getting them to come up with their own and sharing them with the group. So that's always fun too, getting them really involved in the process. Number 8 is winter mindful eating or drinking. So you could bring in seasonal treats, like any maybe winter fruit that you have in your area, or something else. Or you could keep it really simple and bring in a seasonal treat like hot cocoa. So some hot chocolate, maybe with some marshmallows. And with whatever you choose, you guide your students to eat or drink mindfully by inviting them to focus on the aroma, the taste, and the texture of the food, and encouraging them to savor each sip or bite and to engage their senses fully in the experience. So even just saying like, notice the smell of the hot chocolate. Notice the taste. How does it feel on your tongue? How does it feel in your mouth? How does it feel in your hands? So just asking those questions to get them to really engage in the mindfulness exercise. So as a side note, you've probably heard of hot chocolate breathing. I feel like I've seen so many pins and blogs talk about it. But basically, the idea is that students pretend to hold a cup of hot chocolate and to imagine smelling its aroma while inhaling and also then cooling it down while exhaling, which is a really fun mindfulness exercise, is kind of just imagining it. But you can also do this with a real cup of hot chocolate, right? Like as they're holding it, getting them to smell it, to actually smell it while they inhale, and then cooling it off while they exhale. So you can also incorporate that. And you could do it by imagining it and then also by actually doing it afterward. That would be interesting too for them to see the difference in the experience. Number 9, we're getting to the end of the list here almost. Number 9 is a visualization exercise, a winter visualization exercise. So all you have to do is lead a guided visualization exercise where students imagine themselves in a serene winter setting. So describe a peaceful scene with snow-covered trees, a clear blue sky, and a sense of tranquility. So just dive in and get creative with this, coming up with this winter scene that you're picturing and then getting your students to visualize it as well. So encourage your students just to immerse themselves in this mental imagery to help them to find calm and relaxation. All right, number 10 is supposed to be the last one, but I lied because I remembered an 11th one that is pretty awesome too. So this is the second last one, is a winter gratitude circle. This is such a good one to do during a morning meeting if that's what you do with your students. Form a circle and then have each student share something that they are grateful for in relation to the winter season. So it could be the beauty of snowflakes, the warmth of cozy sweaters, certain activities, winter activities they like skiing or snowboarding, whatever comes up. This is a great practice that cultivates a positive mindset and a sense of appreciation for the season. So that is 10 activities, but I'm going to give you a little bonus activity. We probably have talked about it on old podcast episodes. I'm not sure anymore. We have so many episodes now that it's hard to remember. But we have a poster called the Snowflake Breathing Poster. And basically all it is you print out the poster for each student and then they trace the snowflake as they breathe. So trace as they inhale and then trace the other side as they exhale. And then they do this until they've gone through the entire snowflake. So this is something that you can find, the Snowflake Breathing Poster, inside our EduCalm free resource library, which I will link to the show notes at educalm.com/TBE 169. And it's the free resource isn't just Snowflake Breathing Poster. There's a few, I think there's, if I'm trying to remember, there's like 5 or 6 free posters within the resource. There's snowflake breathing. There is a 5-finger breathing poster. There's also a spring one, a flower petal breathing poster. And then there's belly breathing poster. And there's another 1 or 2, but I can't remember fully right now. But again, I'll link that in the show notes and I'll just link you to the entire free resource library. That way you can download all the things that we have in there, including Snowflake Breathing Poster. So that was your bonus 11th winter mindfulness activity that you can do. So yeah, all of these mindfulness exercises are so great for the winter season and can help students embrace the unique qualities of the winter season and foster a sense of mindfulness and presence throughout the day. These are all really great exercises to do before diving into some learning. You know, when you're feeling like, okay, we all need to kind of just take a step back and calm down. And I know like right before going on winter break, it's always kind of a tough time for us teachers. So these are kind of little activities that take 2 minutes to 5 minutes tops that you can kind of incorporate into your day to just make classroom life, make the school day go by just a little bit more smoothly. And again, just to enjoy winter and have conversations around the winter season. So your exit ticket for today is to try at least one of these 11 activities with your students in your classroom and make that easier and simpler for yourself by grabbing the free resources, or if you want to grab the mindful coloring, the winter mindful coloring activity that we have in TPT. I will link all of that in the show notes, and that's at educalm.com/TBE169. Educalm is educalme.com/TBE169. Now, before I let you go, I just wanted to let you all know, Kaylee and I wanted to let you all know that we have decided to slow down on the podcast a little bit more in the next few months or so to really focus on other projects that we've got going on at Educalm. And so we do plan to still release episodes periodically when we have something really exciting to share, or if we have good ideas, or if there's an interview that we really want to do. But we won't be releasing them at the first, I think it's right now on the first Monday of every month. So it'll just be a little more sporadic. Sometimes we may release a monthly episode and sometimes we may not. We're just kind of going to go with the flow as we kind of tackle some of these other exciting projects that we have going on behind the scenes. So very important though, that to make sure that you're subscribed to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcast content, so that you'll see when we do release new episodes, they'll just pop up in your feed and you'll be good to go. You won't have to go looking for them or anything like that. So yeah, subscribe to the show so that you see whenever a new episodes will get released in the future. And if you haven't actually listened to all of our 169 episodes, which is a lot, we encourage you to go back and listen to the old episodes. There's such good content there. We've had some amazing interviews. Kayla and I had some amazing conversations, and it's all there for you to access anytime you want. So thank you for following along our journey. And thank you for allowing us to change and adapt and prioritize different things within our business. We are so grateful to have you as part of our audience. And like I said, we are no longer going to follow a strict schedule. And I can tell you right now, there will not be a December episode. But we'll still be around. We will still drop an episode here and there. And so until then, thank you for being here. Have an awesome winter break, since we won't talk to you before then. And yeah, we will talk to you in the new year sometime. So have an awesome day, week, month. Enjoy!